Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what is time, really? I mean, for as long as we've been human, we've been on this incredible quest to measure it, to bottle it up, and to figure out our place in its never-ending story. Today, we're going to be detectives. We're going on a journey to decode the secrets of time itself. Let's get into it.
You know, it's kind of wild when you think about it. We seem to be the only creatures on this planet who are, well, obsessed with time. We build monuments to remember the past, we make grand plans for the future, and we live our entire lives by the constant tick-tock of a clock. This awareness, this obsession, it's what makes us different, and it's where our whole mystery begins.
So here's the problem. For most of human history, there were no books, no emails, no written records at all. Entire civilizations came and went, leaving nothing behind but silent, empty ruins. So how in the world are we supposed to know their story? How can we possibly put a date on their world? Well, the very first method was beautifully simple, almost obvious. The first archaeologists were literally digging into the past, and their whole theory was based on one simple idea. The deeper you dig, the older the stuff you find has to be. And that simple idea, it blew everything wide open. It turns out the Earth itself is basically a giant history book. The layers of rock are like pages in a diary, laid down over millions of years. And by reading the fossils trapped inside those pages, we could suddenly look back not just a few thousand years, but hundreds of millions of years. Okay, so the rock clock is amazing for the big picture stuff, but to zoom in, to date human history, we needed smaller, more personal clocks. And it turns out, nature had hidden them for us in some of the most surprising places you can imagine. Get this, a simple piece of ancient pottery is actually a time capsule. The moment that clay was fired, it basically started charging up like a little battery, soaking up energy from the world around it. And here's the magic trick. When scientists gently heat that pot back up in a lab, it releases all that stored energy as a little glow of light. The brighter the glow, the longer it's been charging, telling us exactly when it was made, up to 7,000 years ago. And then you have what might be the most elegant clock of all, a tree. I mean, it's so simple, it's brilliant. Every single year, a tree adds a new ring of growth. So when you look at a tree stump, you're not just looking at wood, you're looking at a perfect calendar of that tree's entire life. But here's where it gets really amazing. These rings tell us so much more than just the tree's age. A nice wide ring, that tells you it was a good year with plenty of rain and sun. A thin, narrow ring, that tells the story of a tough year, maybe a drought or a long winter. It's incredible. A single piece of wood can be a detailed weather report going back thousands of years. So these natural clocks were ingenious, for sure. But to unlock the really deep past, the age of life itself, the age of the planet, we had to go smaller, like way smaller. We had to find the clocks that were ticking away inside the atoms themselves. Now, you've probably heard of carbon-14 dating. It sounds super complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple. While anything is alive, you, me, a plant, an animal, we're all absorbing a tiny bit of a radioactive type of carbon, carbon-14. The moment that living thing dies, it stops taking it in, and the carbon-14 it already has starts to break down at a perfectly steady, predictable rate. It's like an atomic stopwatch that starts the moment of death. And this method was a complete game changer. All of a sudden, we had a reach of 50,000 years into the past. Think about that. We could finally put an accurate date on a bone, a piece of charcoal from a fire, a tiny seed. The story of our own ancestors was finally coming into focus. 50,000 years is a huge amount of time, but when you're talking about the age of the planet, it's just a blink of an eye. And carbon-14 only works for things that were once alive. To read the Earth's own birth certificate, we were going to need a different clock entirely. And wouldn't you know it, we found one. It was ticking away inside volcanic rocks. This time, it's radioactive potassium, trapped inside when the rock formed. Over eons, it slowly and steadily decays, turning into argon gas. So, by measuring the ratio of potassium to argon, you can figure out the exact moment that rock cooled from lava into solid stone. And the result from this clock is, well, it's just breathtaking. Potassium-argon dating lets us measure time in the billions of years. We're talking 4 billion years. For the first time, we could actually read the age of our world. Okay, so we've gone on this massive journey, from the dirt under our feet all the way down to the heart of the atom. But through all these different clocks and methods, have you noticed the one secret principle that powers every single one of them?
I mean, think about it. We have this incredible toolbox, right? Sundials, rock layers, pottery, tree rings, carbon-14, potassium argon. They all seem so different from each other.
But what are they all really measuring? What's the one thing they're all tracking? That's the secret. Every single clock we have, no matter how simple or complex, measures one thing: change. The shadow moving across a dial, the growth of a tree ring, the decay of an atom. To measure time is simply to measure a process of change. And this is where our scientific detective story takes a turn and gets a little philosophical. Because if time is change, then what about something that doesn't change? By definition, it would have to exist outside of time itself. And that one question forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew.
You see, this idea that time isn't some universal constant, that it doesn't flow at the same speed for everyone and everything, that's not a new idea. Spiritual and philosophical traditions have been talking about this for centuries.
This idea is captured perfectly in some spiritual traditions. In Islamic theology, for example, they describe beings who experience time on completely different scales. A single day for a high angel is said to be like 50,000 of our years. And on the flip side, on the day of resurrection, it's said that a person will look back on their entire life and it will feel like it lasted only about an hour.
And here's the craziest part. What was once purely metaphysical, modern physics came along and made it startlingly real. Einstein's theory of relativity proved that time is not constant, it's relative. Time literally slows down the faster you move. This means every single object in the universe is experiencing its own unique flow of time. It's not a metaphor, it's a fact of the cosmos.
So where does that leave us? We've built these incredible clocks, we've peered back billions of years into the past, we've even discovered that time itself bends and stretches. But all of that just brings us to our final and maybe most important question. After this entire journey, from the layers of the Earth to the relativity of the cosmos, the ultimate mystery is still staring us in the face. We've become absolute masters at measuring the effects of time, but the true nature of time itself, what it is, well, that remains perhaps the greatest puzzle of all. So I'll just leave you with that. What do you think time really is?